he kisses babies, but for the Patriarch, it's one of the benefits.
Their eyes and their innocence are a part of paradise. Good morning.
No matter where he is in the world, the Patriarch is rarely alone. His days booked solid with meetings with his followers, church leaders, and heads of state. He has received the United States Congressional Medal of Honor from President Bill Clinton, won Norway's prestigious Sophie Prize for his inventive approach to environmental problems, and been named a champion of the earth by the United Nations.
He is the sort of leader who doesn't lead exactly by coming out front. He leads by advice, above all by encouragement. What he doesn't do is come out front with the flag and march, ahead of the troops. He can't do that.
He can't do that because the Patriarch is the calm center of a political storm, the eye of a conflict between East and West that began long ago. The Orthodox Christian faith was founded in the ancient city of Byzantium, which became Constantinople in the 4th century AD under the reign of Constantine the Great, the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity. Gradually, the Byzantine Empire, created by Constantine, gave way to the rule of the Ottoman Turks.
After the fall of Constantinople, the Patriarch continued to be regarded by the Turkish Ottoman authorities as the head of the Orthodox people. And so Constantinople retained its importance right up until the 20th century.
In the turmoil following the First World War, with the demise of the Ottoman Empire and the establishment of a Turkish Republic, more than 1 million Orthodox Christians were expelled from Muslim Turkey in the 1920s.
This meant that the Patriarch lost most of his local flock. However, the Christians in Constantinople itself were allowed to remain, though because of pressures since 1955, most of them are now gone.
Under Turkish rule, the Patriarchate has frequently been the object of political or religious persecution. 7 patriarchs were killed while in office. Other patriarchs deposed and forced out. Even today, Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew finds himself under threat. Radical Muslims frequently stage protests, hanging him in effigy, demanding that he and his followers abandon his faith's ancient homeland.
There is no doubt that the Patriarch's position at the moment within Turkey is a difficult one. The Turkish government considers that he is simply the head of a rather small minority of Christians in Istanbul, and they do not recognize him as the leader of a worldwide Orthodox community. It's been sometimes suggested that because of pressures from the Turkish government, restrictions on the Patriarchate's work, he ought to move somewhere else. I believe he would not wish to move. If he were expelled, that would be another question, but he would feel it is his duty and his privilege to remain where he is and support the local Greek community who are his flock in the city of Constantinople itself.
On this morning, the Patriarch is on his way to the island of Halki, an hour's ferry ride from Istanbul. There, a horse-drawn carriage takes the Patriarch up to the top of the island, up to a hill called Hope. In the 9th century, Byzantine monks built a monastery there. Since 1844, it has been a theological school of the Orthodox Church. For the Patriarch, a visit there is always a kind of homecoming.
I am deeply moved whenever I come back.
Over the years, the school has educated hundreds of the Church's top religious leaders, including 12 ecumenical patriarchs, the Patriarch Bartholomew among them.
I use Bartholomew.
He came to Halki for the first time when he was 17 and spent 11 years of his life here, 7 as a student and 4 as a teacher.
Patriarch Photius.
The Patriarch was born on an island very similar to Halki, on the small island of Imbros in the Aegean Sea. There, he first learned to treasure the natural world.
In Imbros we had goats, sheep, cats, donkey.
Here at Halki, the Patriarch can take a moment or two to revisit his youth.
Whenever he has the opportunity to be in a place like Imbros, he always goes back in his childhood and he would say, oh, when I was a child, we were going on the mountain and in the sea, and it was so nice to climb the mountains. And this feeling gives him so much strength that even now he will climb on the mountains and he will run so fast that we cannot follow him.
This is the Easter flower, Paschalιά.
This island is a welcome respite for the busy Patriarch, but it is Halki's place in the history of his faith that is most precious.
These are my predecessors. This is my private apartment here. An ideal place for study, for prayer, for meditation. Unfortunately closed. Closed down.
More than 100 Orthodox Christian students used to fill the classrooms here at Halki. But the school is empty now. Only a few caretakers tend the grounds.
We used to have lunch all together here, the dean, professors, and the students.
In 1971, the Turkish government ordered the school shut down, and it has remained closed ever since.
Κύριε Λέησον, Κύριε Λέησον, Κύριε Λέησον, Δέσποτα αγευλόγησον.
Χριστέ ο Θεός ευλόγησον την πρόσιν και την πόσιν των δούλων σου, ότι Άγιος ή πάντοτε νίκαια ή και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων.
I would guess that the Turkish instinct is that it is not very good news if he becomes too prominent in the world. If he were to become a major world actor, I think that would be upsetting to the Turkish state.
I think there's a good deal of respect among Turks generally for the Patriarchate, and I'm just very puzzled as to why the official attitude continues to be as hard-edged as it seems to be. It's not as if the Patriarch is a threat to Turkey. And in fact, I would think that they would look upon the Patriarch and the Patriarchate as something to be proud of.
He doesn't go out there and give big press conferences. He doesn't give interviews. In one sense, it's a pity, because if he were to come out and say, yes, I am the Green Patriarch, this is what I want the world to do, what I want to do, it would be sensational.
Instead, the Patriarch spends a great deal of time working behind the scenes, often without credit.
Building bridges is part of the Patriarchate's history and commitment. So the Ecumenical Patriarchate has always looked to build bridges. It's always sought to find ways of dialogue with other churches, with other faiths.
In 2002, at the Church of Sant'Apollinare in Italy, a church famous for its mosaics of the natural world, the Patriarch embraced an opportunity to forward the cause of the environment, while at the same time helping to repair an historic rift, the Great Schism of 1054 AD between the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. The Archbishop of Ravenna allowed the Patriarch to perform the Orthodox liturgy for the first time in more than a millennium. With every hymn, every prayer, history was being created, division was being healed.
The whole atmosphere of the church, this famous basilica, was very inspiring, and feelings of the numerous congregation who attended the liturgy were very positive, very moving.
I was deeply moved. I think most people there were deeply moved. It was an extraordinary, remarkably rewarding event, which symbolized perhaps more than anything else the coming together of religions.
It was historic, but I hope and pray that it was also prophetic, a sign that perhaps the concern for the environment is going to bring the great churches together again.
Soon after the ceremony in Ravenna, the Green Patriarch gained a powerful ally. Pope John Paul II agreed to sign a common declaration on environmental ethics